This is another day trip from our home base at Reutlingen, Germany. Schloss Heidelberg is sometimes referred to as a palace and other times as a castle. It has transitioned from a medieval fortress to the residence of an emperor electing prince to a magnificent Renaissance palace to a ruined romantic castle. This map shows that Heidelberg is about 96 miles from Reutlingen. We drove past Stuttgart on the way. The earliest castle structure here was built before 1214 and later expanded into two castles around 1294. Information on Heidelberg Palace describes it as a ruin. In this photo, you can see that it has generally been left to decay. At times in the past, it has been used as a quarry for other building projects. On portions, you can see that there is no roof and you can see through the windows. In 1537, a lightning bolt destroyed a portion of the upper castle. The structures have been damaged by wars and fires over the years. In 1764, another lightning bolt caused a fire that destroyed some of the rebuilt structures. The interior was entirely of wood. Here we have an ancestral portrait gallery in stone. Emperors and kings are shown on statues along each of those levels of the building. They run from Charlemagne to the latest king at the time this was built. Heidelberg was the residence of the Elector Palatine, one of the powerful princes entitled to elect the Holy Roman Emperor. Three springs within the area were an optimal source of water for the palace. Various wells supplied the necessary fresh water for the kitchens. Venison was one of the main courses presented at the royal table. The castle kitchen was supplied with venison by the court's lead huntsman and his hunters. The animals were driven into the stag pit at the castle and killed from a safe, elevated position. Large royal hunts also took place in the neighboring forests. The bell tower is located next to the Hall of Glass. Over the centuries, a gun turret, originally constructed in the early 15th century, was reinforced, built up, and finally converted into a bell tower and lookout tower. The tower's wall, which was burned out in the 18th century, has been undergoing preservation. These two photos show how thick the walls of the palace were. On the left, the section of the wall that was blown out is leaning against the structure as it has for over 300 years. On the right, compare the wall thickness with the average height of the tourists on top. Something learned at this castle, as shown in this photo, there in the upper center, there's a little bump out there in the wall. This is a royal toilet. Bombs away to the outside. Perhaps some servant has a duty down below. There are several lion's heads on the outside walls as seen in this photo. Those whose mouths are open are actually vents for the toilets on the inside. This prince of the Holy Roman Empire was 18 when this picture was painted. He instructed the artist to make him look older so as to be better accepted by his subjects. He was about 5 feet tall, and when he died, it is said that he weighed over 500 pounds and could not walk on his own power. Too much wine and good food. It was reported that he had 5 servants that carried him down to the village each day. A giant barrel was installed in the building's basement in 1591, holding 130,000 liters of wine. The prince-electors celebrated lively parties in the king's hall. The citizens could pay taxes in the form of wine, which was combined in this barrel, good wine and bad wine. The wine was pumped into banquet rooms above. The original giant barrel fell victim to the turmoil of the 30 Years' War. In 1664, it was replaced by an even larger barrel with 200,000 liters capacity. Nearly 100 years later, it was replaced by an even larger barrel with a capacity of 220,000 liters of wine. In this photo, please notice the individual in the lower left corner in blue. That is Perkio. Little Perkio was brought to the Heidelberg court at the start of the 18th century. As court jester, he provided entertainment for court society with his pranks and jokes. He is famous for his ability to hold his liquor, and there are several stories to back it up. A painted wooded figure of Perkio now stands guard over the great Heidelberg tun. The water was polluted, so people feared drinking or bathing in water might lead to death. One king passed a law that one could only consume 8 cups of wine at one meal. Stairs led to a platform above the barrel. It was likely previously used as a dance floor. The German Apothecary Museum inside Heidelberg Castle offers fascinating insights into the history of pharmacies. Besides substances originating from plants, an assortment of curiosities are hidden among the approximately 1,000 remedies. In the 16th century, pulverized mummy was valued as a remedy for cough, sore throat, a broken heart, shivers, and headaches. A fascinating walk through the pharmacy museum shows how the healing powers were used in the Middle Ages and the early modern age. The museum has a complete reconstructed pharmacy lab. And then we were again on our way back to Reutlingen. I hope you enjoyed this adventure with us at Heidelberg Castle, and that perhaps you'll join us on another adventure.